Hi Tom, thanks for doing this.
Welcome.
And although you have a 20-year career, 21 actually,
Yep.
with dEUS, I really want to talk about your kind of hiatus that you do in between the band,
Yeah.
like mostly with film. Like the Flanders industry is quite like now renowned worldwide, but it wasn't like that with music back in your time. You had like to break the divide in Belgium. How was it like?
Well, we didn't look at it like that, so it was just pure luck and I think some talent and then some, just being at the right time in the right place. So we didn't look at like we're breaking it open. We were quite ambitious, although we were young. We knew we had a kind of a different style and a different sound. So we didn't look at it at the time like let's break, through.
The bands used to struggle with it.
Well, I don't know if they used to struggle with it. I just don't think it appeared on their radar. The possibility appeared on their radar. I think it was more that.
Do you still have like Vantage Point Studios in Antwerp?
Yes, and we worked there a lot. So it's great to have your own studio. You don't, it's in the long run, it's much cheaper. And it's fun,
productive.
and but more productive. It can have disadvantages because you can keep on working and working and working until you go completely insane. Yeah.
Did that happen in 2011, 2012?
Yeah,
with Keep You Close.
You're very well informed because that did indeed happen. But there's always a result, and that's fine. So then there's the record, and then you forget about it. And also, I do it to myself, so I don't have anybody else to blame. But it's being in the studio is fun. It's good for the soul because you work on something, you have a result. So it's in the long run, it's really something that I need in my life.
I want you to tell me a little bit about the way you write the lyrics, because sometimes it feels so personal, sometimes it feels like you're talking in the third person, sometimes you feel like you're in the corner looking at the world and observing people.
Well, you have to experiment as a songwriter because, you get really quickly tired of talking about yourself. On the other hand, I'm not really a topical songwriter. I'm not going to talk about things that happen in the world. I always have to filter it through my observation. So, but yeah, and I like it abstract, and then I like it sometimes super concrete and super to the point. And you have to do that. Sometimes I like it in French. Sometimes I sing in my mother tongue, which is Flemish. So you switch languages. Portuguese, I've done it also recently. So you just have to switch and change, and it's a cliche, but reinvent your inspiration and yourself. And
You sang Quatre Mains, but you didn't really like to speak in French when you were little, right?
that's true. That's because it was the language of the chic people.
The bourgeois.
And so, but I learned a lot by listening, and other kids have talent for mathematics, and I didn't have that, but I was pretty good at languages. So. But it's true, in the beginning days, French was something that was spoken only by people that I didn't really want to be seen with.
Talking a little bit about your new project, a jazz band called Taxi Wars. How did that come up?
Oh, well, even if we're not really making new stuff at the moment with dEUS, I like to make music. And I had this idea for a jazz band where I'm singing or rapping or whatever. And they're like stand-up bass, drums and saxophone. And I met this guy who's like the great collaborator for me. He's a bit younger than me, but he's very all-round. And it just clicked, and we made one record. It's coming out in September. It's called Taxi Wars, but we're going to work already on the second end of the year. And for me, it's also a big relief because there's less pressure on my shoulders. There's less time involved. I just have to show up and sing.
And that time you're going to apply it in movies, because you have 2 projects coming up, Alcoholics.
One which is called The Hab.
The Hab.
It's called. Okay. Right now, that's the one that is the most developed.
What about Pull Handle to Open?
Jesus, where did you hear that? That's a bit too early to talk about. It's more experimental.
I really wanted to talk about that because I've heard it was about a girl in their early 30s was going slowly crazy. I kind of relate to that, so.
Well, good. That's too early to talk about it. That's more or less what's going on. But
And we all know your close relationship to Portugal. And if we didn't, with the soft fall, the music, we kind of had a revelation. Yeah, the bridges in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
When did you fall in love with Portugal?
Well, long time ago. Actually, even before dEUS, because I played on the streets, and I was in Tavira. I was like 17 years old, and I traveled to Alentejo and Lisboa, and then I went to Spain and France and back home. Making money playing on the street. So I think it started there. Then dEUS was really popular here, and then I came on holidays also. So it's just a slow love affair. It's not the quick where everything is fine. It's slow burning, which is the best always, as you know.
Okay, thank you so much.
Get out of spaces